Welcome to my channel Super Rare Coins. Today is best top 3 coins. Please don't skip this video. So let's get it started. The 1979 Canadian 1-cent coin, often referred to as the penny, is a small but historically significant coin in the numismatic history of Canada. It was part of the Canadian decimal system, which was officially adopted in 1858, and by 1979 the 1-cent coin had already been in use for well over a century. This coin represents a denomination that played a crucial role in everyday transactions for Canadians throughout the 20th century before the eventual discontinuation of the Canadian penny in 2012. The 1979 issue is particularly interesting as it falls within the period when Canada was standardizing its modern coinage designs under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, reflecting both the nation's heritage and its ties to the British monarchy. On the obverse front of the 1979 1-cent coin is a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II designed by the artist Arnold Machin OBE. This portrait, introduced in 1965, shows the young queen wearing a tiara known as the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, which was a wedding gift to her from Queen Mary in 1947. The effigy is elegant and serene, depicting the monarch in her early reign. Surrounding the portrait is the Elizabeth II D.G. Regina, which is an abbreviation of the Latin phrase Dei Gratia Regina, meaning, by the grace of God, Queen. Notably, during this period, the title Fidei Defensor, Defender of the Faith, was omitted from Canadian coins, a practice that distinguished them from their British counterparts. The reverse, back, of the 1979 Canadian 1-cent coin features the iconic maple leaf twig design, a strong and enduring symbol of Canada. This design was created by G.E. Kruger Gray and has been a defining image of the Canadian penny since 1937. It shows 2 maple leaves on a single twig, representing the Canadian natural heritage and unity. Above the leaves is the word Canada, and below is the denomination 1 cent, along with the date 1979. The maple leaf is an emblem deeply ingrained in Canadian identity, also appearing on the national flag and various other insignia. In terms of technical specifications, the 1979 Canadian penny was composed of 98% copper, 1.5% tin, and 0.5% zinc, which was the standard bronze composition used for Canadian cents from 1942 until 1996. The coin has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, a weight of 3.24 grams, and a plain, smooth edge. This composition gave the coin its distinctive reddish-brown color when new, which could develop darker tones over time due to oxidation and handling. The mintage for the 1979 Canadian 1-cent coin was extremely high, as the penny was one of the most widely circulated denominations in Canada at the time. Over 1.2 billion coins were minted in 1979 by the Royal Canadian Mint. Because of this high production, the coin is considered very common and widely available on the collector's market today, especially in circulated grades. From a historical context, 1979 was a year when the Canadian economy was experiencing inflationary pressures and changes in global trade. The penny, while still useful for small transactions, was already showing signs of diminishing purchasing power. Common items priced in cents included candy gum, postage stamps, and payphone calls. The coin circulated widely across the country, used in every province and territory, making it an everyday object for nearly all Canadians. The collectability and value of the 1979 Canadian 1-cent coin are generally low in circulated condition due to its vast mintage and relatively recent production. Most circulated examples hold only their face value or slightly more as a collectible piece. However, coins in mint state, MS, or brilliant uncirculated, BU, condition, as well as those found in official proof-like or specimen sets, may carry a higher value, ranging from 25 cents to $2 Canadian depending on the grade. Rare minting errors such as off-center strikes, double dies, or planchet flaws can be far more valuable, with some selling for tens or even hundreds of dollars. The symbolism of the maple leaf has a deep history in Canadian culture. Since the 18th century, the maple leaf has been used as a national emblem representing the vast forests and natural beauty of the land. On coins, its presence reinforces the distinct Canadian identity while maintaining ties to the monarchy through the obverse portrait of the Queen. The 1-cent coin was demonetized in Canada on February 4, 2013. Meaning it was officially withdrawn from circulation, though it remains legal tender in theory. By then, the cost to produce a penny had exceeded its actual face value due to rising metal and production costs. As a result, the 1979 penny is now a historical artifact rather than a circulating coin, often kept as a keepsake or part of family collections. From a numismatic perspective, the 1979 penny belongs to the second portrait series of Queen Elizabeth II on Canadian coins, 1965-1989, which is one of the most collected eras for Canadian cents. This period marks a time before the composition changed to copper-plated zinc, 1997 onwards, and before the eventual elimination of the coin. Many collectors assemble full date runs from this period, and 1979 is considered an essential but common date in such sets. The legacy of the 1979 Canadian 1-cent coin lies in its role as part of the everyday Canadian experience for decades. Whether found in children's piggy banks used to make exact change or tossed into charity boxes, the penny played a humble but persistent part in Canadian commerce. Its design reflects a balance between Canada's national pride and its constitutional monarchy heritage. Next, the 1999 Canadian 1-cent coin, commonly known as the Canadian penny, represents one of the final decades in which the smallest denomination of Canada's decimal currency system was actively circulating. Issued by the Royal Canadian Mint, this coin bears the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, symbolizing Canada's constitutional monarchy and its enduring ties to the British Crown, even as the country celebrated milestones in its independent identity. The 1999 penny belongs to the late pre-discontinuation era of Canadian cents, a time when their production was still massive, though their practical purchasing power had already significantly declined. On the obverse, front side, the coin features the third official effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, created by artist Dora de Pedery Hunt, a renowned Canadian sculptor. This portrait, introduced in 1990 and used until 2003, depicts the Queen facing right, wearing a stylized diadem, tiara, and with a more mature and regal expression compared to the youthful Makin portrait of earlier decades. Around the effigy is the Latin Elizabeth II D.G. Regina, which translates to Elizabeth II by the grace of God Queen. This standard on Canadian coinage reflects the monarch's official style without the British FD, Fidei Defensor, component, consistent with Canadian practice. The reverse, backside, of the 1999 Canadian penny features the iconic maple leaf twig design by G.E. Kruger Gray. This classic design, first introduced in 1937, portrays two stylized maple leaves attached to a single stem, symbolizing the natural heritage and national identity of Canada. Above the design is the word Canada, while the denomination 1 cent is inscribed at the top and the date 1999 is placed below the stem. The design has become synonymous with the Canadian cent, enduring through multiple monarchs and coinage changes for over 7 decades. The composition of the 1999 Canadian 1-cent coin marked a transitional period in Canadian minting. From 1997 to 1999, the penny was composed of 98.4% zinc and 1.6% copper, plating a shift from the earlier bronze composition, 98% copper, 1.5% tin, 0.5% zinc. Used until 1996, this change was implemented as a cost-saving measure due to the rising price of copper. The 1999 penny, therefore, is primarily a zinc core with a thin copper plating, giving it the same reddish appearance but a slightly different weight of 2.25 grams compared to the previous 3.24 grams of bronze coins. The coin has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, a thickness of 1.45 millimeters, and a plain, smooth edge. The mintage for the 1999 Canadian penny was enormous, with the Royal Canadian Mint producing over 1.089 billion coins that year. This high volume reflects both the widespread usage of the penny in commerce at the time and the Mint's standard practice of issuing large quantities to maintain supply for small transactions, despite the coin's dwindling real-world buying power. From a historical perspective, 1999 was a significant year for Canada as it approached the new millennium. The penny at this time was already under scrutiny for its economic inefficiency. The cost to produce each coin was approaching its face value due to metal and production expenses. Nevertheless, the coin remained in daily use for making change in retail vending machines and banking transactions. Items costing just a few cents were still commonplace, though inflation was gradually reducing the purchasing power of the penny. The collectability and value of the 1999 Canadian 1-cent coin is generally low in circulated condition because of its vast mintage and relatively recent issue date. Most circulated examples are worth only their face value or slightly above for bulk collectors. However, coins in uncirculated, MS65 or higher, or proof like PL condition, especially those found in mint sets or with no signs of wear, can be valued between 10 cents and $2 Canadian depending on the grade and market demand. Extremely high-grade coins such as MS67 Red, certified by third-party grading services like PCGS or NGC, can fetch higher prices among specialized collectors. Rare errors and varieties such as off-center strikes, double dies, or die rotations are highly sought after and can command prices from $50 to several $100 depending on rarity. The symbolism of the maple leaf on the reverse is particularly important in understanding the cultural identity of the Canadian penny. The maple leaf has been a national emblem of Canada since the 18th century, symbolizing peace, tolerance, and the natural beauty of the nation's forests. Its depiction on the penny is one of the longest-running coin motifs in Canadian history, making this small coin an ambassador of national heritage worldwide. The discontinuation of the Canadian penny in 2012, just over a decade after the 1999 issue, means that this coin now serves more as a historical artifact than a functional unit of currency. On February 4, 2013, the Royal Canadian Mint officially ceased its distribution, and businesses began rounding cash transactions to the nearest 5 cents. Despite this, the 1999 penny remains legal tender, though it is rarely accepted in commercial settings today. From a numismatic standpoint, the 1999 Canadian 1-cent coin belongs to the period of major material change, 1997-1999 zinc core era, before the transition to copper-plated steel, 2000 onwards. Collectors who specialize in Canadian cents often categorize this coin as part of the modern zinc composition era, making it a necessary but common date in any complete collection. Its place in Canadian coinage history is therefore more practical than rare, yet it remains an interesting specimen for those studying the evolution of Canadian currency. The legacy of the 1999 penny lies in its representation of late 20th century Canadian commerce, its role in households as a common coin for savings, jars, charity donations, and even children's learning of currency. It is a reminder of the era just before digital transactions and rounding eliminated the smallest physical denomination from Canadian wallets. Next, the Hong Kong 50 cents 1979 coin is a significant piece of the region's monetary history, struck during the colonial period under British rule and bearing the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. This coin represents the transitional economic environment of late 20th century Hong Kong, a time when the territory was rapidly becoming an international financial hub, while still using a currency system strongly influenced by its British colonial administration. The 50 cents denomination, often referred to colloquially as a half-dollar coin in local terms, was an important mid-range value coin used for everyday transactions such as transportation fares, food purchases, and retail payments during that era. On the obverse, front side, the coin features the official effigy of Queen Elizabeth II facing right, as designed by Arnold Machin, one of the most famous designers of royal portraits used on Commonwealth coinage. This portrait, adopted in the mid-1960s across many British territories, depicts the Queen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. A well-known and historically significant royal piece of jewelry surrounding the effigy is the Queen Elizabeth II, which was the standard obverse legend for most British colonial coins at the time. The design reflects a formal and stately image of the monarch, signifying Hong Kong's status as a British crown colony. The reverse, backside, of the 1979 50 cents coin prominently displays the denomination in both English and Chinese, reflecting the bilingual nature of Hong Kong society and its legal requirements for currency. The reads Hong Kong at the top and the date 1979 at the bottom. The denomination 50 cents appears in the center with the equivalent Chinese characters ing 504, meaning 5 mao or 50 cents, placed prominently as well. The design is minimalistic yet functional, ensuring easy recognition in a bustling commercial environment where coins changed hands frequently. The shape of the coin is also of numismatic interest. The 1979 50 cents coin is round with a smooth circular planchet, unlike the scalloped edge design adopted in later years for some Hong Kong coins. The edge is reeded, milled, which helped prevent counterfeiting and allowed people to easily distinguish the coin by touch. Its diameter measures approximately 23.5 millimeters and it weighs 5.81 grams, making it slightly smaller and lighter than the older silver or cupronickel half-dollar coins of earlier decades. In terms of metal composition, the 1979 Hong Kong 50 cents coin is made of copper nickel, 75% copper, 25% nickel, a durable and non-precious alloy that resists corrosion and allows coins to withstand the humid subtropical climate of Hong Kong. This composition was adopted widely across Commonwealth nations during the late 20th century as a cost-effective and long-lasting replacement for earlier silver issues. The mintage for the 1979 50 cents coin was quite substantial, reflecting Hong Kong's booming population and economy at the time. Tens of millions of these coins were produced by the Royal Mint in the United Kingdom, which was responsible for supplying Hong Kong's currency until the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, HKMA, began more localized production arrangements in later years. While the exact mintage number varies slightly depending on the source, it is generally recorded at tens of millions, ensuring its wide availability in circulation. From a historical perspective, this coin circulated during a period of major change in Hong Kong. The late 1970s were marked by rapid industrialization and influx of migrants, and the early stages of negotiations between Britain and China over the future of the territory, which would eventually lead to the 1984 Sino-British Joint Declaration, and the 1997 handover. Coins like the 1979 50 cents remained in use throughout this entire transformative period, making them a silent witness to a city in flux. The collectible value of the 1979 Hong Kong 50-cent coin today is generally modest because of its large mintage and the relatively recent era of issue. Circulated examples usually carry a value close to face value or a small premium, around 50 cents $1 in average condition. However, well-preserved coins in uncirculated MS-60 to MS-65 grades may sell for $3 $10, while exceptional examples in mint state, MS-66 or higher, or those found in official mint sets can achieve slightly higher values among collectors of Hong Kong colonial coinage. Error coins from this year, such as off-center strikes, planchet flaws, or die cracks, are considerably rarer and may fetch significantly more depending on the severity and uniqueness of the error. One of the most interesting aspects of this coin is its dual cultural representation. The presence of Queen Elizabeth II's effigy reaffirms the colonial link to Britain, while the bilingual demonstrate the recognition of the local Chinese-speaking majority population. This dual identity became a hallmark of Hong Kong's coins until after the 1997 handover, when the Queen's portrait was replaced with designs featuring the bauhinia flower and other local symbols. In everyday life, the 50-cent coin was practical and widely used in 1979, a time when prices were significantly lower than today. It was often paired with the 10 cents, 20 cents, and $1 coins in daily commerce. For example, a tram ride or a small snack could often be purchased with just 1 or 2 50-cent coins. The design continuity of Hong Kong coinage under Queen Elizabeth II was relatively stable, with only minor adjustments over the decades. Coins from the 1970s and 1980s share similar styles, making them familiar to collectors who appreciate the consistency of British colonial numismatic ART.AS for its legal tender status. The 1979 50-cent coin is no longer actively minted, but remains legal tender in Hong Kong, meaning it can still technically be used for payments today, although modern coinage with post-1993 bauhinia designs is far more commonly encountered. From a numismatic study perspective, this coin provides a valuable look at the evolution of Hong Kong's mid-denomination coins during the late colonial era, the impact of changing metal compositions in response to global economic pressures, the symbolic use of British royal iconography in Asian colonial territories, the transition from silver and nickel-based coins to cheaper copper-nickel alloys for everyday commerce. Collectors often seek to complete date runs of Hong Kong 50-cent coins, and the 1979 issue, while common, is an essential part of such collections because it represents the final years before the 1980s era, when discussions of the colony's political future intensified. Next, the Hong Kong 50-cent coin from 1980 is an integral part of the territory's monetary history, minted during the late British colonial era when Hong Kong was experiencing remarkable economic transformation and global integration. This coin represents a crucial mid-value denomination, widely used in everyday commerce, transportation, and public transactions during a time when Hong Kong was establishing itself as a major financial center in Asia. Its issuance under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II reflects the continuity of British rule and the colonial administration's effort to maintain a stable, internationally recognized currency system that was both practical and durable for widespread circulation. The obverse, front side, of the coin features the celebrated effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by the renowned sculptor Arnold Machin. This portrait, adopted across numerous Commonwealth nations during the mid-1960s and continuing into the 1980s, shows the Queen facing to the right, wearing the iconic Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. The tiara itself is a historically significant royal jewel that has become closely associated with the Queen's image on coin, stamps, and banknotes throughout the Commonwealth. Surrounding the portrait is the Queen Elizabeth II. Rendered in capital letters along the coin's periphery. This formal style of presentation was a hallmark of British colonial coinage, signifying the authority of the monarch over the territory. On the reverse, backside, the 1980 Hong Kong 50-cent coin carries a bilingual inscription that reflects the unique cultural and administrative context of the colony. The word Hong Kong is prominently displayed at the top, while the date 1980 is placed at the bottom. The center of the coin bears the denomination in English as 50 cents, accompanied by the corresponding Chinese characters, ing 504, which also denote 50 cents in the Cantonese language, the lingua franca of Hong Kong. This dual language system ensured accessibility and understanding among both the English-speaking colonial administration and the majority Chinese population, fostering smoother commercial interactions in a rapidly urbanizing city. The physical characteristics of the coin include a standard round shape with a reeded, milled edge, making it easily recognizable by touch and resistant to simple counterfeiting techniques. The coin measures approximately 23.5 millimeters in diameter, with a weight of around 5.81 grams. These specifications were consistent with the 50-cent coinage series of the 1970s and 1980s, striking a balance between practicality and ease of handling. Its size placed it between the smaller 10 and 20 cents coins and the larger $1 coin, making it an ideal middle value piece for daily use. The metal composition of the 1980 50 cents coin is copper-nickel, 75% copper and 25% nickel, a durable and corrosion-resistant alloy that had by then become the standard for most modern coinage worldwide. This material choice replaced earlier silver-based coins, reflecting both economic pragmatism and the need for a hard-wearing non-precious metal coin that could withstand Hong Kong's humid subtropical climate and heavy circulation without significant deterioration. The mintage of the 1980 issue was substantial as Hong Kong's population and commercial activity were expanding rapidly during this period. Millions of coins were struck by the Royal Mint in the United Kingdom, which was responsible for supplying Hong Kong's coinage up until localized minting became more prevalent in the 1990s. While the exact number of coins minted in 1980 is generally recorded in the range of tens of millions, its large-scale production ensured that it was a very common coin in everyday circulation throughout the 1980s and 1990s. From a historical perspective, the 1980 Hong Kong 50 cents coin circulated during a transformative era in the territory's history. The late 1970s and early 1980s were characterized by rapid industrialization, the rise of Hong Kong as a global trading port, and the beginning of behind-the-scenes negotiations between Britain and China that would eventually lead to the 1984 Sino-British Joint Declaration and the planned 1997 handover. Everyday coins like this 50 cents piece played a silent but constant role in the daily economic life of millions of Hong Kong residents, being used for public transport fares, market cinema tickets, and common household purchases. In terms of numismatic value, the 1980 Hong Kong 50 cents coin is considered a common issue due to its high mintage. Circulated examples in good G4 to very fine VF20 condition typically carry only a modest premium over their face value, often trading for around $0.50 to $1 in the collector's market. Coins in extremely fine XF40 to about uncirculated $50 condition may command slightly higher prices in the range of $1.03, while those in uncirculated or mint state grades MS60 to MS65 are more desirable and can sell for $3.08 depending on demand and the coin's luster strike and preservation. Exceptional specimens graded MS66 or above, particularly those found in official mint sets, may achieve higher values with specialized collectors of British Hong Kong coinage. Error coins such as misstrikes, double dies, or off-center strikes are rare and can fetch significant premiums based on rarity and uniqueness. The design continuity of Hong Kong coins during the late 20th century is notable. From 1975 through the early 1980s, the 50 cents coin maintained a uniform appearance with only the date changing from year to year. This makes the 1980 issue part of a coherent series that reflects the stability of colonial monetary policy during that period. It was not until after the 1997 handover that Hong Kong coins began to feature the bauhinia flower and other local symbols in place of the Queen's effigy. In terms of its economic utility, the 50 cents coin in 1980 held considerable purchasing power compared to modern times. It could buy a tram ticket, a local snack, or contribute to small household transactions. Over time, with inflation and changes in pricing, its role as a medium-value coin diminished slightly, but it continued to circulate alongside newer designs well into the 1990s. From a cultural and political standpoint, this coin stands as a relic of British colonial rule, marked by the juxtaposition of British royal symbolism and Chinese linguistic representation. It mirrors the unique identity of Hong Kong during that era, a place deeply influenced by British administration yet overwhelmingly Chinese in culture, language, and population. Today, the 1980 Hong Kong 50 cents coin remains legal tender in Hong Kong, although it is far less commonly seen in circulation as most coins now feature post-handover designs. Many of these coins were withdrawn or gradually replaced, yet they remain a tangible connection to the city's pre-1997 colonial history and are actively collected by numismatists, historians, and even nostalgic residents. For collectors and historians, this coin offers insight into the evolution of colonial coinage under Queen Elizabeth II. The economic development of Hong Kong in the pre-handover era, the design philosophies of the Royal Mint during the late 20th century, the role of bilingualism in monetary instruments as a reflection of political and cultural coexistence. Overall, thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe my channel for more videos.